It's just out, and it's already making waves behind the scenes in Las Vegas. The Raiders just announced a new signing, and the name will surprise a lot of people. A former Raiders player is back, ready to fight for a starting spot on the offensive line and help a group that's been plagued by injuries and instability. But what's most interesting is the reason for his return, and what this change reveals about the team's behind-the-scenes situation ahead of the matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. I got the hottest scoop, straight from inside the team, and you'll understand it all now. But first, if you're a Raider at heart and want to know every move before everyone else, like and subscribe to the channel because this return could be the first step toward a season turnaround. The Las Vegas Raiders are reshaping their roster as the 2025 NFL season approaches a critical juncture, and one change is causing a stir among fans. On Tuesday, the Raiders officially signed guard McClendon Curtis to their practice squad while releasing punter Brad Robbins, who barely saw the field after being signed as A.J. Cole's backup. Curtis, 26, is a familiar face to both Raiders fans and head coach Pete Carroll. Originally an undrafted free agent out of UT Chattanooga in 2023, Curtis played 49 games in college, starting 38, and earned 3 All-SoCon first-team honors. At 6 feet 4 inches and 175 pounds, he is versatile, having started at right guard, left tackle, and left guard. A valuable asset for a Raiders line that has struggled for stability this season. Curtis's journey has been anything but smooth. After a strong 2023 preseason, he was placed on the Raiders' practice squad, but the Seattle Seahawks quickly signed him to their active roster. Over 2 seasons in Seattle, Curtis appeared in 5 games before brief stints with the Arizona Cardinals and New York Giants, never finding a permanent spot. Now, back in Las Vegas, he has another chance to make an impact on a team desperate for offensive line depth. The Raiders' struggles have been exacerbated by the absence of star left tackle Colton Miller, leaving the front line vulnerable. Curtis's signing is part of a strategic effort to stabilize the unit, even if he is unlikely to see the field immediately. This addition also demonstrates the Raiders' roster management. Robbins' release freed up a practice squad position, allowing the team to prioritize strengthening the offensive line. Curtis's familiarity with Carroll's system and the Raiders' stadium gives him an advantage in practice, helping the team adapt to injuries and rotation challenges. While not a guaranteed solution, his presence reflects a proactive approach to strengthening a unit critical to the team's offensive success. Timing is crucial. With Week 7 against the Kansas City Chiefs approaching, every roster change counts. Curtis's size, experience, and knowledge of the system could subtly impact practices and prepare the team for high-pressure scenarios. For fantasy football managers, his signing is more than just a bonus. Procedural. In a season marked by injuries and inconsistency, even a practice squad addition can result in significant changes. Curtis represents versatility, experience, and a potential stabilizer for a line that has struggled to protect Geno Smith and establish the run game. As Las Vegas navigates this challenging stretch, Curtis's presence could be one of the subtle factors influencing performance in the coming weeks. And speaking of injuries, the next pressing question for fans and fantasy managers is, how will recent player health updates affect the Raiders' chances and fantasy outlook against the Chiefs? As Las Vegas prepares for Week 7 against the Kansas City Chiefs, injuries are shaping both the team's strategy and fantasy football projections. Most notably, tight end Brock Bowers remains sidelined with a knee injury, missing his 2nd consecutive game. His absence has immediate repercussions on the field and for fantasy managers, who considered him a high-volume target. When Bowers played, the Raiders averaged over 215 passing yards per game. Without him, that number dropped to just 174. The loss of a key threat in the middle of the field forces adjustments to Geno Smith's approach and alters the entire offensive scheme. Despite Bowers' absence, the backups have excelled. Michael Mayer, returning after leaving the team last season to focus on his mental health, exploded for 16 PPR points against the Tennessee Titans in Week 6, the 6th highest average among tight ends. Mayer's performance proves the Raiders have capable backups when injuries strike. Jacoby Myers could rise in the target hierarchy, while rookie Ashton Jeanty could see more touches as the team focuses on the run game and tempo management. For fantasy managers, this shift in targets creates new opportunities and challenges, making Week 7 roster decisions crucial. The Raiders' offensive struggles are compounded by instability along the line. Even with Curtis's return to the practice squad, the team still faces depth issues on offense. Protecting Geno Smith is vital, especially against Patrick Mahomes and a Chiefs defense known for creating pressure. Every injury, from skill players to linemen, impacts not only on-field results but also fantasy results. The potential performance of Mayer, Myers, and Janti depends on whether the line gives them time and space, demonstrating how injuries, roster movements, and individual statistics have become interconnected. Las Vegas faced consistency challenges throughout the season, with new systems, changes in the backfield, and line instability impacting the offensive tempo. The team's 20-10 victory over Tennessee demonstrated resilience, but not explosiveness, highlighting how injuries like Bowers can limit the offensive ceiling. Fantasy managers need to adapt quickly, considering Mayer or Janti as playmaking options while closely monitoring Bowers' recovery. As Week 7 approaches, the Raiders face a delicate balancing act, adapting to injuries, maximizing reserves, and keeping their offense functional against one of the league's most potent teams. This scenario sets the stage for a deeper issue: the offensive line. How will the Raiders approach run protection and blocking to ensure players like Mayer and Janti can produce? Coach Pete Carroll's analysis reveals the next challenge for Las Vegas. The Raiders' offensive line has been a major concern heading into 2025, and head coach Pete Carroll has been transparent about the struggles. Early in the season, the offensive line was inconsistent, leaving Geno Smith vulnerable and making it difficult to establish the run. Injuries have compounded the problem. Center Jackson Powers Johnson missed time, and star left tackle Colton Miller remains sidelined. Carroll emphasizes a next-man-up mentality, asking backups to step up to critical roles in high-pressure circumstances. A key player is Stone Forsythe, a backup tackle who now faces the challenge of replacing injured starters. Carroll praised Forsythe's preparation, intelligence, and technique, highlighting his ability to contribute significantly despite limited starting experience. Jordan Meredith also performed well, demonstrating consistency against some of the league's top defenders. Carroll emphasizes that execution is key. Small errors in footwork or blocking angles can allow defensive penetration, disrupting both passing and running games. The offensive line's performance directly impacts not only team success, but also fantasy outcomes. Players like Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers, and Ashton Janti rely on the protection and lines created on the front line to produce points. The addition of Curtis, Forsythe's development, and the return of Powers Johnson are all pieces of a larger puzzle. Every practice, snap, and adjustment has a ripple effect on how the offense functions and how fantasy managers should evaluate potential scoring opportunities. As the Raiders prepare for Week 7 against the Chiefs, the stakes are high. Curtis's return, Bowers' injury, and the line's continued instability are interconnected factors shaping Las Vegas's game plan. Every roster change and adjustment will influence on-field performance and fantasy relevance. For fans, understanding this dynamic is crucial. The offensive line, injuries, and practice squad depth can determine whether the Raiders succeed or continue to struggle. With McClendon Curtis back in the lineup, Brock Bowers out, and the continued challenges of the offensive line, can the Raiders stabilize their offense and surprise the Chiefs in Week 7? Leave your opinion here, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Raiders news.